Hey, what's up guys? Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. Today we're going to kick things off looking at the Bitcoin price chart, and then we'll dive into a dedicated iTrustCapital video. Hope you enjoy, stay tuned for future videos, and let's get into it. Alright guys, so we're starting off on the weekly time frame looking at the Bitcoin price chart side by side with Render. And as we've shared for the past 10 years, 3 different cycles in a row during a Bitcoin bear market when we get a market retracement or are en route to an all-time high price. At the very least, we hit the R1 pivot, and that is currently around, we'll just say 39K. Now there's a lot of confluences at higher price targets, but we have open gaps to be mindful of still on lower levels, and we have yet to backtest this weekly 50 MA. And the weekly 50 is right around 22K, so keep in mind, even when Render was getting this impulse up to the pivot, it came back and did a wick backtesting the weekly 50. Now in previous videos, we've gone through dozens of alts that have hit the R1 and R2 pivot, whereas Bitcoin is still below. And just remember, we've already shared dozens of altcoins that we've seen surpass this March-April high level of 2022. Some have hit the R1, others have hit the R2 like Injective. So we definitely have some altcoins that have climbed substantially. You can see that Injective also had a crazy wick almost close to that weekly 50. But I would argue there's even more altcoins still forming new lows and a falling knife today, and it's very similar to Bitcoin when it was finding its bottom. So currently the Bitcoin price chart is holding its weekly pivot right there. We can see when XRP hit it, we rejected it, came back down, almost retesting the weekly 50 MA, and then just got this impulse recently right back up to the weekly pivot as we're sitting on that price exactly. But what I'm personally seeing is it's still entirely possible for Bitcoin to fall back down to the weekly 50 MA. We do have open gaps on Bittrex, as we've shared weeks ago, in tandem with CME gaps. However, we still have open CME gaps above near the 382 Fibonacci retracement at about 34,900 right up here. And during previous bear markets, especially almost coming up on 2 years, we historically reached the R1 during a market retracement. So whether it's a market retracement like we've seen in 2019 or it's a market retracement up here before we actually head to an all-time high price, I conservatively expect Bitcoin to head towards 40K in due time. We still have an open CME gap above. Now let's talk about lower targets if this does in fact crash and it takes a lot longer. And I'm still gauging as this 50 MA to be a potential level of support at 22K if we do see a huge crash. As you can see, there is no liquidity here, there's no wick, there's no candle body, so this is an open gap entirely on a weekly time frame on Bittrex. And historically, these gaps do close. Now, sometimes there have been cases where it takes a year or two for the gaps to close, so be mindful of that. But overall, I do believe Bitcoin heads towards the 382 Fibonacci retracement, towards another open CME gap. And also be mindful of the open CME gap we still have right around 20,700. So we have a few possibilities. Is Bitcoin going to hold this weekly pivot and surprise everybody and head towards the 382 Fibonacci retracement in tandem with closing the open CME gap at 34,000? Or is it more likely, since sentiment is so low, that Bitcoin is going to come back down? Are we going to be hitting this 25K level for support because we have yet to even reach that per wicks? And if we break through that, we still have the open weekly gap on Bittrex around 22K in tandem with the weekly 50 MA right there. Or are we just going to completely dump and close this open CME gap around 20,700? Whichever scenario comes to pass, I just believe that Bitcoin heads up to 40K plus regardless because we are less than 1 year away from the next Bitcoin halving. So if we dump and do this and consolidate a bit longer, it drags everything out. I don't necessarily want that, but it could offer some better opportunities for altcoins. Are we going to shock everybody, get an impulse up to these levels because we've been consolidating here since March? Just to give you a quick visual of the open gap, so above we have this open gap right around 34-35K as you can see. So this has been open since May of 2022, and there have been altcoins that have already surpassed or reached their March-April high, which is pretty interesting. We had an open gap with no price action whatsoever. This recent pump did close that. We also had another open gap here, and that last crash closed that gap. However, we still have one left over all the way down here. So this is the one I'm referring to, and we can keep an eye on this 200-day moving average. Now we can also see on the daily, we had another open gap right there, but then Bitcoin came right back down and closed that gap. So what happens next? I know there's a big narrative tomorrow for China on June 1st for opening licensed crypto exchanges and letting retail have access to Bitcoin and Ether. We have Tether announcing they're going to be buying back Bitcoin with 15% of their net profits. We have NASDAQ opening a crypto trading desk, but then there's also a lot of bearish sentiment as well. So is this all a trick before we do another crash, or are we actually going to finally retrace in this market? So remember, historically, we reach the R1 during each cycle, whether it's a retracement and we come back down, or we actually hit that, play around, and head to an all-time high price in tandem with the 50% retracement. So another confluence all around this 39 to 40K level is this inverse head and shoulders. So JT shared this a while back. We can see left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We have the neckline taking a measured move, and that would actually take us from the breakout point up to about 41K. So of course, this is on the weekly time frame. I hope it happens a lot sooner than later, but did want to share because there's a variety of confluences just pointing at that level. But alright guys, let's get into iTrustCapital and share some additional information that may help you if you're new and interested in creating a free account, or if you already have one. So this is linked in the top of the YouTube video description and also in the pinned comment. If you do fund your account, you'll also get a $100 funding reward. So this platform, I have had a Roth IRA here since January of 2020, and I was previously with IRA, another platform for crypto IRAs. And I'm so happy I got a Roth IRA in the bear market of 2019 before 2021, which was absolutely amazing. And one benefit of iTrustCapital is you can trade 24/7, 365. And also, you don't have to rely on stablecoins and have counterparty risk. You can trade directly with the US dollar right here, so you don't have to worry about the counterparty risk of a stablecoin, as we saw USDC temporarily depeg earlier this year. So I know that was scary. Luckily, it didn't last too long, but that is just an example of what can happen in crypto. Now, there's a variety of different accounts you can create on iTrustCapital. You can roll over a 401k, you can have a TSP, a 403b, so all types of options if you're just an individual or a business owner. And each of these can have their own benefits. Of course, a Roth IRA is 100% tax-free. So with all the trades I'm making in my investments, they grow tax-free, meaning that I pay 0% in capital gains. So I encourage you guys to check out iTrustCapital. They are a unicorn or a $1 billion plus valued company, and they've had billions of dollars in transactions. Of course, there's huge tax advantages, especially for people in the United States where capital gains taxes are uncertain, especially if they do raise taxes in the future. iTrustCapital is free. There's just a 1% transaction fee if you trade. So essentially, just like Coinbase. However, with iTrustCapital, if you have a Roth IRA, all of your trades are tax-free. So it's 0% rather than a short-term or long-term capital gains that could range from 15% to even 40%. And the crypto market today is just over $1 trillion. The all-time high was $3 trillion. When you put this into perspective and think of investments, 401ks, and retirement accounts, we can see right here that nearly $1.4 trillion are in old 401ks today. And I do believe a lot of this money will enter the crypto market in the future, and not just crypto, but the entire digital asset space. I know crypto is volatile, but let's think. Bank of New York, Goldman Sachs, NASDAQ, they're all starting crypto trading desks. Of course, BlackRock with their huge investments. We have Fidelity with a crypto trading desk. We can talk about the major banks and custodians, and they're all investing in building infrastructure. Another cool thing is you can potentially pay your taxes in cryptocurrency in the future. So paying your taxes using crypto may soon be an option for you. Colorado is moving forward with plans to accept crypto for tax payments. And other states, including Arizona and Wyoming, are weighing similar proposals. Californians may soon be able to pay for a range of state services using crypto. And what's crazy to think is there are so many developers in the crypto space that had experience in Web 2, and they've seen this all happen. They've seen the rise of cloud, they saw the rise of the internet, they saw the rise of social media, and they personally believe that the crypto asset class today is still in the 90s. And we can see a study by Capitalize. Nearly 25 million old 401k accounts sit in former employers' plans. Those accounts collectively hold $1.35 trillion in assets. That is a significant portion of the approximately $6.7 trillion in 401k plans altogether. And keeping this money in old employers' 401k plans could be costly for investors depending on the account fees and how the funds are invested. That's definitely something to consider when you look at iTrustCapital. There are no monthly fees. There is just a 1% transaction fee if you trade. So for me personally, I do take trades in iTrustCapital, and my plan is I treat it like a retirement account. If my alts or anything goes to the moon, I'm not tied to iTrustCapital for life with my Roth IRA. If I made a bunch of money and I wanted to de-risk from crypto, precious metals, and other things, I could go back to Vanguard and throw some of that money in the S&P 500 index just to de-risk from crypto and go into the stock market. However, iTrustCapital partnered with Fortress Trust. So what does this mean? Because Fortress is huge. This isn't just improving the onboarding experience and a variety of other processes. There's some cool things coming on their way for iTrustCapital. They're expanding their availability nationwide and globally, so that's huge. They have increased digital asset options, so in the future there will be dozens of more assets. There are already at least 30, maybe 30 plus altcoins on the market, including precious metals. However, we can see upcoming availability of additional alternative assets such as fractional real estate, private equity, and interest-earning cash sweeps on FBO client USD positions. So it seems like there's a lot in the works on the back end, also referring to recurring contributions and dollar cost averaging features. iTrustCapital has 30 plus assets, the lowest fees in the industry period, because it's free besides that trading fee. And I have personal experience in saying this because I was with a previous custodian in 2019. They don't borrow or lend against client assets. I'm not going to name those companies that went down doing so, very shady practices. You can see live client service from their in-house team on the support page, so you can open a support ticket or you can call them directly at any time. We have institutional storage providers, Coinbase custody, and Fireblocks, the biggest in the game, blockchain ownership, and regulated state chartered custodian. And the website's super easy to use, so you can come up to how it works up here. We can click the FAQ to see some commonly asked questions and go through this. You can see how do I get started, click the walkthrough. This takes you step by step with video tutorials. It is super simple. The difference between Coinbase and iTrustCapital. All iTrust accounts are IRAs that may have benefits like tax-free trading and tax-deferred or tax-free gains. iTrustCapital monthly fees, 0. There's no hidden fees, custodian fees, or management fees, so a lot of people are pleasantly surprised by that. I am personally, from my experience with another custodian in 2019, those fees were eating me alive. The minimum to open an account is $1,000 and there is no max. They also have conditional transactions, which makes it a lot easier to set and forget. So you can set your take profits, you can set your buys and stagger them out. So you don't have to sit on the mobile app and make sure you're market buying just at the right time. You can set your price targets and not sweat it, sell 50% here and 50% there, etc. And how long will it take to fund my account? So for cash contributions, about 1 week via ACH. An IRA transfer is 1 to 2 weeks, and the employer plan rollovers are about 3 to 4 weeks. Can I have more than one IRA? Yes, you can have as many IRAs as you want. However, you can only contribute the maximum per year collectively throughout all of your IRAs in total. And if you have any additional questions, you can navigate to the support tab up here. So between the FAQ and the support tab right here, this basically goes over any questions you may have in detail, whether it's setups, walkthroughs, onboarding, video help, tutorials. And you can click each of these. How do I get started? As you can see, it'll pull up a little tutorial video and go step by step. And also they have a video library right here, which is super helpful for anybody that might be nervous or new to crypto. We have the phone number. You can submit a support request, how-to videos on how to use conditional transactions, getting started, how to add funds, how to self-trade, 401k rollovers, joint accounts, etc. So basically everything you need. And for anybody curious, there's also educational videos, including breakdowns of different crypto assets, Bitcoin mining, Ethereum, how they're using blockchain with gold and silver, and then right here, the top 5 reasons to open a crypto IRA. So all in all, I hope this video was informative. I hope it gave you some resources. I encourage you to check out iTrustCapital. If you do decide to create an account and fund your account, you will get a $100 funding reward. Roth IRAs, 401ks, some people have them, and they might be right or a good fit for some people. Early days and in previous videos, we made the argument for 401ks. Today, I'm not the biggest fan. However, with crypto, being such a young asset class with asymmetric potential, yes, there's incredible risk in any nascent asset class, but there's also massive potential and rewards during a bull run. So I'm personally happy that I got a Roth IRA in the crypto asset class during the last bear market, and I do believe as we're less than 1 year away from the next Bitcoin halving that this bear market will pass as well. Huge thank you to all that hit the like button, and I'll catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate if you could hit the like button, let me know your thoughts down below, and my link tree is linked in the top of this YouTube video description, with all links, crypto resources, and discounts. I'll catch you in the next one.